pretty fun tag challenge going on right now. Oh, I've been tagged. What's going on, comic friends? It's Ryan the Colossus Collector, and thank you once again for stopping by my channel. So, in the last couple weeks, there's been one of my favorite things that happens here and there in the comic book YouTube space, and that is a tag video challenge. Essentially what happens is someone in our community, a fellow content creator, creates some kind of video. Usually it's some sort of top 10 or top 5 or show me your best 3 this or whatever it could be. And then they tag 3, 4, 5 people to make their own version of this challenge, to put up that top 10, top 5, whatever it might be. And then the cycle continues and we get a bunch of great content out of it. I really have always enjoyed participating in tag challenges. I'm always kind of on the edge of my seat hoping someone will tag me because I like to just engage in these sorts of things. It gives me a great opportunity to do a fun video, something that isn't planned in my content creating list or videos to do. So I really love doing it, and then I love it also just because it helps engage everybody in the community, and it gives you an opportunity to, pass it along, tag other channels. It's a great way to give kudos and talk about other channels as well. It's just great. I love tag challenges. So I've been kind of sitting around waiting for this current tag challenge to tag me in. Where it started was my friend Dave over at still only 35 cents, great channel, started a tag challenge asking members in the community to give their top 5 undervalued comic books. And there's been a slew of videos so far with a bunch of different top 5 or top 4 undervalued comic lists. People are, putting their own spin on it too, because of course undervalued could mean different things. So that's also a great thing about these tag challenges is videos are different. You get lots of different outlooks and perspectives and opinions, and people take little creative liberties with the challenges too. So it is a lot of fun, and so it's gone. The tags have been going around, and I was waiting, and then I actually got tagged twice. First, I got tagged by my friend Bruce at Up North Comics. Me and Bruce are tight friends. We talk all the time. And in his video, he actually didn't tag anybody, but he tagged me in my DMs after the fact. And then I also got tagged by my fellow Canadian, Uncanny Derek, who also gave me a tag at the end of his video. So I'm happy to jump in and do my top 5 undervalued comics. But before we jump into that top 5, I just want to let everybody know, please stick around till the end of the video when I do my tags. I'm going to actually make this tag challenge go nuclear. I've noticed a few people in the challenge, or have participated in the challenge, have either forgotten to do tags or decided just not to do tags because they didn't know who to tag or whatever. So I'm going to just scoop up all those tags and I'm going to tag a bunch of people, and I'm going to try and keep this challenge going. And I'm going to talk about those channels as well. So stay tuned to the end. Please watch through it. Or even just skip my part and get to the part where I tag people so that you can get exposed to some great channels, some great content creators here on YouTube in the comic community. So stay tuned for that. And now let's get into my top 5 undervalued comics. So, first off, I will just say that, like I said earlier, top 5 undervalued. That undervalued could mean a lot of different things. It could be undervalued in, of course, the monetary value of the comic book. Is it selling for less than you feel like it should be? Is it more affordable than you feel it should be? It could also just be undervalued in terms of people talking about it. Maybe people aren't talking about these books enough. Or perhaps it's just undervalued in terms of appreciation. People don't appreciate a book for certain characteristics, certain qualities, certain important things that occur in the book, or just how good the book is, the art, the stories, whatever it is. There's different ways you could assess what undervalued means to you as a collector. Rarity is another one too. Books that are just super rare and should be more valuable. So the way I approached it was a little bit of everything. I think I didn't have a specific set definition undervalued. I think definitely value and what the book's selling for factored in a lot to what I picked out, but there's some other factors too, and we'll get into that as we go through the books I chose. I also only picked books out of my collection, books that I have. There's definitely a lot of other undervalued books that I could have talked about, but I wanted to be able to show the books, have them in my hand as I talk to them. So these are 5 undervalued books in my collection that I feel are undervalued. So let's jump into the first book, and this is in no particular order, not 1 to 5, just 5 books that I find undervalued. So this first book, it's not an unpopular book by any means. It's a very sought after, enjoyed book. It's Amazing Spider-Man 316. This is the first appearance of Venom on the cover. This is a really iconic piece of Todd McFarlane art. And why I think this is a little bit undervalued, not underappreciated, it's definitely appreciated, but I just feel like the value of this book could be higher based on just how amazing this artwork is and how iconic this cover art is. This is at least in McFarlane's top 5, and I would say most people who are McFarlane art fans would agree with that. I mean, obviously everybody's got opinions, but I would say the majority of people, if you ask them, this cover would be in their top 5 Todd McFarlane covers. It's been homaged. He's homaged it himself in other books and titles. It's really, truly, I would say, the most iconic Venom cover that's ever been put out. I mean, again, there's lots of great covers, but I think this is really the most iconic Venom cover. It's such a great book, and it's his first title or his first appearance on cover as well. When I think of Venom books, like, I really do think of this book. I don't even think of ASM 300. I know ASM 300 is the Venom book. It's his first, arguably his first appearance, not according to Todd. 299 is his first appearance according to Todd. But outside of the debate, the market has dictated that 300 is the big Venom book, the big Venom key, his first appearance. But he's not on the cover, and in a sense he is in terms of the black suit on Spidey, but when I think of Venom books, I think of this book. This is the one in my mind that is just the quintessential Venom book. And yes, in tandem with 300. I think obviously if you're a big Venom fan, you want to have that 300. It is the big money book. But I just think that this one should be more valuable, should be kind of just behind 300 if anything. But I think the value gap is quite large between a 9.8 316 and a 9.8 300, and I think it should be a little bit closer in my opinion. All right, next up, I've got a book, and I've shown it on the channel, and you might think, oh, this Colossus collector, this Canadian comic collector, this book's not undervalued. But this is Alpha Flight #1. But my copy is the Canadian price variant. Now, I looked up values on this book, and by no means is this less valuable than the regular #1. A 9.8 of a Canadian price variant of Alpha Flight #1 goes for, or the latest sale was for about $400 back last year, January 2023. An Alpha Flight 1 in a 9.8, you're probably looking at $150 to $200, depending on the market. Probably more $150 right now. So it's definitely, this book is more valuable than the regular 9.8. But I just think that this book is really special. And I know Alpha Flight's not the most popular title by any means. It's kind of a niche book. And I know I'm Canadian, so I'm a little biased, but I just think it's a very unique situation where you have a team that's from a place, Canada. It's the Canadian team, and then you can get the book in a Canadian price variant. That combination just feels extra special, extra rare, and I was trying to think about other books that could be like the equivalent of this or have the same sort of sentiment, and I thought of maybe like Excalibur Special Edition 1 or Excalibur 1 in a UK price variant, but when I looked those up, I couldn't find that there is a UK price variant for those books. Maybe they're just not listed on Cover Price, or they're easy to find on Google. And so if there is a UK or a Pence variant of those books, please let me know, because I think that would be really cool to also get in, and would be right on par with this book in terms of undervalued. But I just think this is such a unique book to get a Canadian price variant on a book that's a Canadian team, and it's also on top of it, you know, the first appearance of certain characters like Puck. I just think it's a really cool book that could, in my opinion, be considered undervalued a little bit. I think it could go for a lot more than $400 in a 9.8. That's my opinion. And, yeah, oh Canada. Alright, so this next book is a beautiful Silver Age book that I just think does not get as much love as it deserves, and that is Strange Tales 135. And this, of course, is the first appearance of Nick Fury as an agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. It's also the first appearance of S.H.I.E.L.D. as an organization, as well as their arch nemesis and enemy, Hydra, as a group, as an antagonist group. By no means is Nick Fury one of your top Marvel characters, but Nick Fury is just so woven into the stories and fabric of Marvel. If you look at it, if you take it beyond even comics, like he, you know, when the MCU was made, Iron Man was the first film, Tony Stark was the first character. Who is the second next big crucial character revealed in the MCU? It was Nick Fury in the post-credit scene. Nick Fury stitched together the Avengers. He was the man behind the scenes. He was an integral part of the MCU story. In comics, there's not a single title, a single storyline where, well, maybe there are, but every major title, every major story, every major character has encountered Nick Fury, has worked with Nick Fury, or gone against Nick Fury. Nick Fury and S.H.I.E.L.D. is so integral to Marvel and the entire Marvel Universe. I feel like, you know, this is a big book, but it's just not revered, I think, as much as it should be. And I don't think the value is appropriate to what I think, how big I think this book really is, how important the first appearance of Nick Fury as the Nick Fury we know nowadays, as the agent of S.H.I.E.L.D., as the head honcho of S.H.I.E.L.D., and the fact that S.H.I.E.L.D. and Hydra both, it's kind of a triple threat book, and I really do think that it should be talked about more, appreciated more, and with that, the value probably should go up as well. So I think this is a very appropriate book for my top 5 undervalued books. Alright, so this next book is definitely a Colossus Collector book. Seen it many times on the channel. It's Submariner #1, the big premiere issue. His first solo title in the Silver Age. Now, if I had his first appearance in Fantastic Four, I would have probably put that here. But this book kind of just represents Submariner in general. I think that he's an undervalued character in Marvel. He's definitely not a bestseller, top-selling character for whatever reason over history. He hasn't risen to the top like a lot of other characters, and I think his MCU debut was lackluster, unfortunately, so that doesn't help his character either. But he is so rooted in the history of comics and the history of Marvel. He predates Captain America. He's really kind of the oldest ongoing, pretty integral character in the Marvel Universe in this day and age, going back all the way to 1939 when he was first introduced. Submariner is just a really historically important character. Like I said, the oldest ongoing, still integral, still important character that Marvel has, and I just think some of his really important Silver Age keys are undervalued. I think that especially his first Silver Age appearance, but then also his first solo title. This book is part of that big premiere issue run, which are it's a very sought after run of books, important time in Marvel. I think the cover is amazing. I just think that it's an undervalued book. I feel like it should be a little bit more sought after and a little bit more valuable in terms of its actual value. And I thought it was a good choice for my undervalued top 5. Alright, so this last book is an X-Men book. Couldn't have a list without some X-Men. This is X-Men number 49. And this is the first appearance of Lorna Dane Polaris, a pretty powerful, well-known character in the X-Men world. She's been an on and off again X-Men, X-Force member. She had relationships with Havoc, with Iceman in the cartoon. And then also is just a really powerful mutant, has the same abilities as Magneto, definitely not as strong or powerful as Magneto, but still a really awesome, formidable force. So as a character, I don't think she's undervalued per se. It's not like she rises to the top of the X-Men ranks by any means, but she is she is part of the Silver Age. She was an early X-Men character, X-Men member. I think that gives her more significance, more importance. Her ties to Magneto also very impactful and makes her more important. And then, but what really makes this book undervalued is because of the book that came right after this. Her second appearance, X-Men 50. The iconic Steranko green-toned cover of her using her powers. She's on the cover first off, you know, she's using her powers. It's just iconic artwork by Jim Steranko, and it's also the first appearance of the 3D X-Men trade dress logo. So there's a lot going for that book, and I mean, I love that book. I have that book. I value it more than this book. But that's not to say that this book isn't valuable and shouldn't be more valuable. I think it does hide in the shadow of X-Men 50, but it is Polaris's her first appearance, and it's also a really great cover. Like, that's Steranko. That's amazing artwork on the cover, and I just think it gets so overlooked because of 50 that it is undervalued. So I looked up some prices. My X-Men 50 is in a 5.5, and it's going for around $300. $299 was its last sale, sort of in that $250 to $300 range currently. This book in a 6.0, half a grade higher, is there. Its last sale was $175. So not a huge gap, but there is a grade difference, and it's still like a decent. It's at least $100 gap between the price of those books, and we're not even we're talking mid grades. If you get into those higher grades, I'm sure that gap probably gets significantly more big and pulls them apart even more. So I really do think that given that this is actually Polaris's first appearance, and even the fact that this particular book here is a grade higher, it really should be closer to the value of that 5.50, maybe just a little under, but definitely pulling in closer. And I just think this is an undervalued book, sneaky, awesome book, because it is, in fact, the first appearance compared to the 50. So I just think it's very worthy to be on my top 5 undervalued comics. So that's my top 5 undervalued comics. I chose comics from my collection to do my top 5. But if you're tagged, you can pick whatever comics you want. You can do it whatever way you want. That's what makes this challenge so fun and makes all the different videos so worth watching. So with that said, I gotta lay down my tag challenges to some more content creators here in the comic YouTube space. I said off the top, I wanted to take this tag challenge and make it go nuclear. I want it to spread all over comic YouTube. And the way to do that is to tag more than just my 3 people. So I have 3 tags, and I noticed that Bone Claws Comics didn't tag anybody, so I'm gonna pick up his 3 tags. My friend Troy at Awesome Toy Box Troy also kind of did a challenge to everybody, so I'm gonna take his 3 specific tags, and make that 9. And then I'm gonna take one of my friend Bruce's tags that he didn't use, and I'm gonna tag 10 content creators, 10 members of our awesome comic community, and try and get at least maybe 5 more tag challenge videos out there in the coming weeks. So first off, I want to tag my very good friend Mr. Akins at What's on the Comic Rack. He is one of my favorite YouTubers in the space, and he loves a good challenge video. I know he used to do video. He would always respond to the tag challenges that Alan, the comic collector geek, would put out. So I'm tagging my friend Mr. Akins. He just recently got back from a big, huge summer vacation, and I've missed his content, so I would love to see you do a tag challenge video, my friend. Next up, I want to tag, in my opinion, the king of tag videos. From when I got onto the comic YouTube space, I noticed that Alex the Comic Hoarder was kind of one of the OGs when it came to these kinds of challenge videos, and I wanted to see if he would like to jump into this one. I know he's got great insight and great knowledge on comics, a great collection, so I'd love to see his top 5 undervalued comics. I'd like to tag my friend Eric over at SideQuest Comics, my fellow Council of X member and brother, another guy with an awesome, incredibly huge collection, and would love to see his top 5. I'd like to tag my friend over at Paper Chase Comics. I know you're busy with your young baby and your comic selling and buying. I know this might be a bit of a big ask, but if you'd like to jump in, we'd love to see your top 5 tag challenge video. I love all your content, so any excuse to see more of it seems like a good idea to me. So that's a tag to Paper Chase Comics. I'd like to tag Sophie over at Jackpot Comic Talks as well. A young YouTuber in the comic space, does great videos. Would love to see her jump into this challenge as well. Next, I'd like to tag my fellow Canadian Chris the Comic Vet, one half of the Only Slabs team. You could catch them on Saturdays, featuring someone awesome in our community every Saturday, live on Rob's Fast Stacks of Comics. Great show, Only Slabs. I'd love to tag Chris. And then next, I'd like to tag relatively new YouTuber, but already making a claim for a great channel here on YouTube in the comic space. I'd like to tag Spro's Comics. Would love to see him and see what he would do with this challenge as well. I'd like to tag my friend 22 Comics, the creator of the Top 10 Alternatives on Mondays. He's a great, fun family man here on YouTube, has great content, and would love to see him answer the call to give us his top 5 undervalued comics. And finally, I'm going to tag 2 channels that are near and dear to my heart. First, my friends over at the Absolute Game of Nerds, Rohan and JP. Maybe you guys could each do your own top 5 undervalued comics video, Absolute Game of Nerds style, and would love to see what books you guys think of as undervalued in your collection or just in general. And then finally, I want to tag my friend Mike over at Lunch Money Comics. Mike, I know that this isn't kind of your usual content, so if you don't want to make this video, feel free to ignore this tag, but I know that you would make a great top 5 undervalued comics video, so I wanted to tag you, and of course, you know, if you do one, lots of people are going to see it, so it'll keep this challenge going. My only rule for everybody who's doing a tag is that you please credit Dave over at Still Only 35 Cents, who started this all off. He's the mastermind behind the top 5 undervalued comics tag challenge, so give him some love, and I hope all of you, or most of you, will do a video. I appreciate you sticking around, and all the audience, everybody watching, sticking around to the end to hear my tags, to hear about these awesome channels if you haven't already. And I hope that you all like and subscribe to their channels. And while you're at it, if you wouldn't mind, I'd love also a like on this video and a subscription to my channel. Really appreciate the support. And if you liked this video, maybe you'll like my most recent Namor video, or maybe you'd like to see some of my recent 9/8s I've picked up. And until the next time, keep collecting.